Hi, Swapna.
Ma'am, I think you are on mute.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Where did you hear? I was keep on speaking. So what was the last that you heard? Did you heard about like all of this?
No, ma'am,
No,
from starting onwards, you are on mute.
Oh, okay. Just a second. Let me start it again. I did not realize. Okay. So today we are going to start the development classes. In other way, we are going to start the programming classes today. Before we go to the development, instead of starting the direct into the development, let's understand what are we going to cover in this course, how we are going to take this course further. Let's focus on that. What are we going to cover in this entire development and what is our main focus? So coming to the development, any development, it's not only the Salesforce, any development is divided into the three pieces. One is UI development, logic development, integration. UI development, logic development, and integration. These are the three development pieces. You take any development like ASP.NET, Python, anything. Everywhere we have to start with a UI. UI, logic, integration. These three will be anyway, it will be there. Coming to Salesforce, in the UI development, it is divided into the three pieces. Visualforce Framework, Lightning Aura Framework, LWC DOM Java Framework. LWC is also we call DOM Java because whenever we are implementing the LWC, most of the things we use related to the DOM Java. So either we can call LWC framework or DOM Java framework. Now here, everywhere I pronouncing as framework. Visualforce Framework, Lightning Aura Framework, LWC or DOM Java Framework. What is the framework? Framework is nothing but a collection of technology. What do you mean by collection of technology? Let's take an example of Lightning Aura Framework. When I say Aura Framework, what it means? Aura Framework means I'm using the HTML, I'm using the CSS, I'm using the Java, I'm using the JavaScript, I'm using some external libraries, I'm using the Apex. That means I have multiple technologies which are used in the Aura technology, and I'm telling them HTML talk to CSS for styling, HTML talk to JavaScript for designing or for pop-up, or Java talk to Apex in order to bring the business logic output, right? Within the HTML, talk to yourself in order to render or re-render the page. So we are combining all of them into one framework. Taking all of them, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Java, Apex, and third-party libraries, everything, I'm bringing everything into one container and putting into the one container. That means framework. Multiple technologies called as a together is called as a framework. So Visualforce Framework. Visualforce has a HTML, JavaScript, Apex. Like if you have heard about, for example, .NET framework, right? .NET is also, they call it as a .NET framework. Because whenever they are implementing the .NET, they use the different third-party libraries and different JavaScript, Java, multiple things they are using it. So which is a .NET framework. So when you want to run an application on .NET, then you require a .NET framework. When you want to run Java, then you require a Java framework or JVM framework. So Visualforce Framework is also a technology of Salesforce. Okay. And coming to the logic development. Logic development is nothing but whatever the logic we write in the Apex. So we will cover everything. Everything in a sense, Apex classes, extension, controllers, wrapper, interface, synchronous, asynchronous, queueable, future, batch, Apex, schedulable Apex, right? SOQL, SOSL. SOQL means Salesforce Object Query Language. And SOSL means
Salesforce Object Search Language.
Salesforce Object Search Language, right? And also we'll cover the access modifier and we'll cover oops concept, right? So these are logic development. Logic development means we are writing some business logic within the class. Test classes will not come here. It's not a logic development. Test classes are basically, we are writing the test classes in order to make sure for Apex class, in order to coverage the code coverage, positive scenario and based on this negative scenario, we wanted to cover the code coverage. For the code coverage, we use the test classes. Test classes, we do not write the business logic there. Business logic, the logic development is done only in the Apex classes. Test classes is only for code coverage. It doesn't play any role in the logic development. Why we need test classes? Only for code coverage, because if I wanted to push any Apex classes from one Salesforce to another Salesforce, only that time we need a test classes. We do not write any logic development there. That is for just coverage. Every individual logic development class is required more than 75% coverage. For that, we write a test class coverage. Okay, and coming to the integration, integration is we cover REST and we cover SOAP. REST stands for representation state transfer. Representation state transfer. SOAP is nothing but simple object access protocol. So when we reach that topic, we will discuss more in depth what are those. But right now, REST and SOAP. REST API, SOAP API, if time permits, we will go through the other things also. So this is what we are going to cover. Definitely we'll talk test classes, but not as a logic development. When the testing phase comes, apart from this, we have another one, testing phase. When the testing phase comes, that time we write a test classes. Because once the logic is developed, then we write a testing. Right? Without a logic development, we cannot write a test scenarios. So this is the overall that we are going to cover. Now, as per the Salesforce certified pattern, we will first learn the UI development. Because once you have the clear picture of the UI, then only you know what to implement in the logic. What is the development logic that I have to implement it for that? Yes, it comes logic development. Also, we talk about the collections. Okay, so as per the Salesforce certified pattern, we will first learn Visualforce Framework. Because once I know the framework, how it is going to, like what is the UI is there and what needs to be done, the logic we will hear. That means, for example, I have a design where the first name, last name, and first number, last number is there. First number, second number. And on clicking on the button, I have a button on the UI. So UI will be fields and button. So on clicking on the button, what should happen? There it comes the logic development. There it comes the business logic. So this is the core syllabus. We will cover everything. Maybe I have missed writing here, but logic development is everything we are going to cover. Whatever is needed for the real time, everything we will cover it. Okay. So in case if I missed writing here any topics, but don't worry about that, we will cover that. Now let's understand the Visualforce. Let's understand Visualforce. What is the Visualforce? Visualforce is basically, this is the framework, right? Visualforce is a framework. Visualforce is a framework that allows a developer to build sophisticated custom user interface, and that can be hosted, natively on the force.com platform. Force.com platform. That means any development, whatever the development you do in the Salesforce, everything has to be done in the force.com platform. Force.com platform is only for the developers. Any development that we do, we have to host it in the force.com platform. So Visualforce page is basically, it allows the developer to build the sophisticated custom user interface. What does that means? Let's take an example. Like we all implemented the page layouts, right? Whenever we are working on the admin side or we have gone through some admin sessions, right? We created the page layouts. When we created the page layouts, in the page layout, I can drag a field and I can put it onto the page layout. I can drag a field and place it onto the page layout. But if I wanted to change a color of the field, or if I wanted to change a label color, or if I wanted to change a text color, or if I wanted to change a background color, or if I wanted to change a position of the field, can I do that? When I say position of the field, right now it is a 2 columns in the page layout. In case if I want 4 columns in the page layout, can I do that? Using the standard Salesforce functionality, can I do that? Applying the color or position or the columns, grid, sections, we cannot do. So in order to overcome these challenges, we have to use the framework called Visualforce Page Framework. So this is the one of the framework. I'm not saying only this one we have to use it. This is the one of the framework. We can also go with the Lightning Aura LWC, it is possible. But right now our focus is only the Visualforce. So in order to overcome these scenarios or these challenges, we have to go with the Visualforce framework allows the developer to implement or build sophisticated custom user interface. Now in market, there are so many technologies. Python, Ajax, ASP.NET, AngularJS, VB.NET, so many are there. When it is in the market, so many are there because anybody before coming to the course, they first go and research what is the best in the market. That's what we all do, the research. Right? So we'll go through the ASP.NET, AngularJS, JavaScript, JVM, Ajax, Python, Tableau, whatever is there in the market, we'll try to do the lot of research. Now, Swapna, tell me, these many are there in the market. And why are you saying the Salesforce? Why are you saying the Visualforce? Why should I learn Salesforce? Why should I learn the Visualforce when I have a ASP.NET? What is that Visualforce that has something which is out of this, which is out of everybody, like which is having the unique, which is going to impress me that yes, I have to learn the Visualforce. Yes, I have to learn the Salesforce. What is that which is going to impress me? Now let's understand why Visualforce. Why Visualforce? Why Visualforce? The first one. Visualforce is user-friendly development. Visualforce is user-friendly development. What does that means? That means wherever you implement the Visualforce, wherever you develop the Visualforce, in the same location, we can see the output. That means on bottom, you write the code, on top, you can see the output. In the same page, you can do the development, you can see the output. But in other technologies, HTML, ASP.NET, Java, we write a program, I have to save it and right click on it and execute it. Once the compilation or everything is done, then we will see the output. But here, as soon as I add it, we can see immediately on the top. So which is a user friendly. Second one, Visualforce supports all other technologies. All other technologies. That means it supports the HTML, it supports JavaScript, it supports Flash, it supports Python, it supports Tableau. So different technologies it supports. There is no restriction on this. And the third most important is Visualforce supports model view controller, which is MVC development style. What is model view controller? Model view controller is nothing but view means a page. View means a page. Model means a logic. Model means a logic. View means a page. Connecting my logic to the page, we need a controller. Connecting a logic to the page, we need a controller. And all of these are individuals. That's the reason logic is separated, model is separated, and UI, the view page, is separate. I'm not writing any logic inside the UI. No business logic, nothing is required in the UI. UI, Visualforce Framework, only needed for the designing purpose, for the building the UI. In case if you need small here and there some logic, you can write it using the JavaScript within the script tag. Apart from that, if you have any business logic which you wanted to do by taking the Salesforce fields, you cannot do it in the UI. Like once you click on the button, the logic will be executed. So once you click on this button, the logic will be sitting in the model. So using the controller, I'll call the model to execute the logic. Right now, okay, Swapna, this is fine. MVC, I understand. ASP.NET is also offering the MVC. They also do the MVC. There are other technologies who does the MVC. Now, why we need a Visualforce page only for the MVC? Now, here is the point. Concise syntax. For example, you have a form. Okay. Let's take a case object. Whenever you have an issue in the Salesforce, you have to raise a ticket to the Salesforce support. So while raising the ticket, you are already frustrated. You already spent a lot of time debugging into or identifying the cause for the problem. You could not able to find the solution. You are done with the 24 hours. You do not have any patience. Now you go to the Salesforce support to raise a case. That's only the option that we have right now. So when we are raising the case to the Salesforce support, what are the things that I need to give? If you give a 10 pages to fill it in order to raise a Salesforce support issue, do you do that? Instead of filling a 10-page form, better I'll do a little more research and I'll try to find out by researching in the Google or something else. You feel that? Because filling the 10 pages is another level of frustration. Instead of going with the 10 pages of form, if I tell you, Phil, what is the problem that you are facing it? Give me the email ID. I just needed two details. Your email ID and the description and how to contact you. Maybe if you are in India or US or Australia, wherever you are, we need a time zone and your phone number. These are the 4 fields I needed. I do not need rest all things. Because if I write a description also, anyway, the support person has to call me and get more details about the problem. That should be all fine. So on the case object, I have 1,000 fields. So if I show you 1,000 fields on the case object right now while creating the ticket, you will not do that. That is not at all required. Only required is only 4 fields. Right? So I'll implement a page in Salesforce to show a page which is a 4 fields. For 4 fields, implementing a page in Salesforce is just a 1-day work. 1-day work is max 6 hours. If you are perfect in Visualforce pages, then you will be taking 1 hour or 2 hours, max 2 hours. Within 2 hours, you will build the Visualforce form and you will give it to them. The same concept, if you have to implement in ASP.NET or Java, how much time the developer will take? Developer will take at least max of 2 days or 3 days. 2 days or 3 days, they will take it. So in Java or Python it takes a lot of time. HTML, maybe 1 day or 2 days. But in HTML or ASP.NET, wherever you go, you have to bring the field from Salesforce. Here, in order to bring it from the Salesforce, that is going to take more time for the ASP.NET. Where it is in the Visualforce page, just a 10 lines of code. In ASP.NET, you will be writing the 100 lines of code. Less coding. Within 10 lines of coding, you can implement entire form, 1-page form. That means 90% of fewer lines of code compared to other technology. What will happen with this? Development time is saved, which is a faster. Developer can have their own free time to learn. Right? So you need not to struggle and get all of those. Already some customization is provided by Salesforce. We can use that and implement within 2 hours. It could be done using the Visualforce. So less coding. Less coding. Now the next one is data-driven defaults. Data-driven defaults means Visualforce is not only for the design purpose. It is also data-driven. That means refreshing the page. Based on the field update, I wanted to refresh the page and show the dependent field. Merging the data on page. So whatever the data drivens are there, those can be done using the Visualforce page. We can do it using the JavaScript or HTML, writing the data JavaScript into the script, we can do that. And next one is hosted platform. Hosted platform, you need not to install the Visualforce framework. We can directly start working on Visualforce framework. If you have to start working on .NET or ASP.NET, what you have to do first, you have to purchase, buy, and you have to install it in your laptop, and you have to install it configurable one, compatible one. Whatever your laptop is there, Based on that, you have to find a compatible .NET framework and you have to install it. After the installation, then you have to configure all of those. You have to do it. That's a lot of time when you start implementing those things. But coming to the Visualforce framework, as soon as you create the Salesforce credentials, and if you have a network, and if you have a laptop, then we can start implementing the Visualforce framework. Now the seventh one is, last one is automatically updated. Automatically upgradable. Automatically upgradable. Automatically upgradable. So that means right now Visualforce framework version is 55. Okay, tomorrow after 2 years or after 3 years or every quarter we have a release, right? Summer, winter, spring, we have a releases. In every release, if there are any update on the version, it will automatically updated by Salesforce. You need not to worry about the upgradable. And Salesforce not even ask that I'm going to upgrade the Visualforce page. So it will automatically does it backend without impacting any code. Without impacting any code, which will be done at the backend. So these are the few points why we need a Visualforce framework. And Visualforce framework looks like a HTML. Looks like a HTML. Whenever I use a word in HTML, how do we use that? If I wanted to print the paragraph, then what we do? We write paragraph, open, and then close the paragraph. Whatever the content we wanted to write, we write it here. We write it here. Or if I wanted to put a breakpoint, I can start the breakpoint and end the breakpoint. Start the breakpoint or end the breakpoint. If I want a bold, I can start the bold and I can end the bold. In case if you do not want to start and end together, like for example, for break, we do not need a start and opening and close, we do not need it. We can combine both of them. For combining it, you can put everything into here. This is the opening and this is a closing. Either you can write like this or you can write like this, whichever the way you want. So same thing for Visualforce page. Same thing for Visualforce pages also. For Visualforce pages also, everything we have to write within the tag. All the code sits into the tag. But only the difference is Visualforce will have its own commands. That means Visualforce starts with apex colon. Starts with apex colon. Anything that you are writing yet, Visualforce tags are starts with apex colon. Apex colon page. This is the opening. Apex colon page. This is closer. Any tags within the Visualforce will have starting with apex colon. Now let's go ahead and create one Visualforce page. Let me open the Salesforce or Okay. So before you start a development, where to open the developer console, how to start the development.
A
So we have,
username.
sorry,
Username under the developer control. Click the username. Your developer console.
right. If it is a classic, you have to click on the username. If it is a lightning, you have to click on the setup.
Okay.
So in the lightning, we have a setup icon. So this is the setup icon. Setup. And when we click on a setup, there is a developer console. But coming to the classic, you have to click on your name. There is an arrow button on your name. So click on that arrow button. And here is the developer console. So whenever the developer console open, ideally you will see like this. You will see like this. Now compare here your Salesforce. Till this point, salesforce.com is your org. This is your org. Okay. After the org, the URL is common Apex debug Apex CSI pages. That means this developer console is on the force.com platform. It's on the force.com platform. Now, whenever you open the developer console, we have a different tabs here. Okay. Test, we'll talk later whenever the test scenarios come. Debug, we'll discuss later, probably tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Today, our focus is only on the file. File tab. File is having a different options here. New is nothing but whenever I'm going to create a new Apex class or Lightning pages, Lightning component or Visualforce pages or Visualforce component or triggers, I can go ahead with the file new. Open is nothing but it will open when I click on the open option, it will open the window. This window will have different entity types. That means I can open the object. When I click on the object, when I open the object, it will give me the all the fields, API fields along with the data type. And I can also open the pages, I can open the triggers, I can open the classes, page component, static resource, packages. If there are any packages are there, we can install that. Right? For example, if I wanted to open the object, there are so many objects are there. Like if you have to find it, you have to scroll down and find it. But instead of doing it, let's have a smart search. Let's say ACC star. When I say ACC star, whichever is the starting with ACC and the star, it will give me all this information. Now I can select this and I can click on open. So when I click on open, account, object, and it will give me all the field names and also Apex data type. So what I can do is I can select multiple fields. I can select multiple fields if you want a query. What you can do is you can select the fields and click on a query. Okay, so right now I have taken these, but those I don't know. Name, type, phone number, fax, queried. Perfect. I do not need this. Let's give a limit 10. So you can query it. This is just a query. I'm not doing anything here. I have selected the fields and then below it came in the query format and I just run the query format using the limit. limit of 10 records. So it gave me the 10 records. Here it is the total record. Okay, we'll see that later. But using the open, you can select the object, you can select the pages, you can select the page components, you can select the static resource, anything we can do. Same thing is possible with the open resource as well. But open resource, it doesn't give you the event type selection, where open gives you the flexibility that you can select the object or you can select the page, and based on that you can find the Visualforce pages and you can find the objects. But here everything all will be there in the format. Like if I want Apex class, okay, so what I can do, start dot apxe, I do not remember the Apex class name, so create a account. As soon as I click on this, there is an ID is going to give me. There is an ID which is going to tell me. This ID is a unique ID. When I select the other one, it gets changed. When I select the other one, it gets changed. When I select the other one, it gets changed. That means every Apex class or every component, could be a class, could be an object, could be a Visualforce page, could be a lightning aura, anything. Every component will have a unique 18 digit. Now, if I copy this, which one we have selected? Calculation. So calculation 18 digit ID. Now let's duplicate this. Okay, now 18 digit ID, I'll paste it here. $18 ID, I'll paste it here. Where it redirected me? Calculation. Same thing we did select there, right? So same thing we selected here, calculation. So if I select test, it gave me the different ID. Now if I go back and let's give that 18 digit ID, update price helper test. So that's what it, right? So every component will have, every component will have a 18 digit ID. Now this is the specific to the lightning resources aura. This is the open log. In case if you have a logs, we will talk this logs. So if you wanted to download the logs, so if you wanted to download it, you can download it from the developer console. Usually logs will be shown in the format of rows and columns. But in case if you do not want debug logs in the format of rows and columns, you can open it in the raw log. And where you can see the logs here in the developer console. So logs will be appearing in the logs. So here, whenever you execute something or whenever the whenever you org-wise, if you are performing anything in the UI or anything, so the logs will be generated and it will be shown here on the bottom, which is the logs. Which is the logs. Yes, anybody has any questions?
Yeah, so here we're trying to develop some kind of UI, right? So where would I get to see it? And like, let's say in the real-time scenario, I'll have some spec or some acceptance criteria to refer to before I, think of developing something or building something, right? So is there any kind of such spec or what do you call a mock-up or something which I refer to, and from there I start developing?
Are you asking about the flow, kind of a flow?
Yes. So here we came to the console and, you clicked on file and you show different options there and creating classes. So what is the purpose of this? Like, where do I execute this and take, what is the, what do you call, where do I kickstart this development from? Like, the first step.
Yeah, we'll come to that.
Sure.
So logs will be appear here. So there is a different tabs here, problems. You will be seeing the problems, and progress will be what are the progress that is happening at the backend. So whenever we open the developer console, we see all the progress here. And this is a query editor, and this is a checkpoint. For the checkpoint, in case if you wanted to have any checkpoint. So for example, you selected this, I wanted to have a checkpoint on the SOQL, I wanted to have a checkpoint on the Apex 4, you can do that. And test, we will talk about later. Now coming to the Visualforce page, okay, how do we start it? Now file, click on a new. What are we doing it? Right now we are creating the Visualforce pages. So there are different options here, but our focus is only on the Visualforce page. Let's click on the Visualforce page. Give a name to it. My new VF page. Okay. As soon as the VF page is created, by default, it will come Apex : page. Anything we have to write it in the Visualforce page, it has to be written within the Apex page. If you write outside of this, hi Apex. If you write anything outside of this tag, it is going to scold us saying that what are you doing it? So here is the problem. Problem is gives you the name is nothing but what is the component name and which line is it having the issue and what is the problem. Content is not allowed in trailing session. So you are not allowed to add anything out of this end of this Apex page. If I add it here, then it will simply go out. The error will go out. So let's say now once I implement it, there are buttons here, preview. So as soon as you create a Visualforce page, remember the extension is BFP. Every component has a different extension. For Apex classes, it is a APXC. So right now we are focusing on the Visualforce pages. So our component extension is BFP. And the API version of the Salesforce is 55. So in case if you have implemented a Visualforce page 6 months back or 1 year back, then you will see the version is either 51 or 45, like that it will be there. So right now we are implementing it. So current Salesforce version is 55. So that's the reason by default, whenever I create a component or whenever I create a Visualforce page, by default, it is going to tell me that you have to use the API version as 55. Okay, so now once I have implemented this, then we'll click on the preview. So when we click on the preview, it will give me the data. So now here I have a hi Apex, right? So that's what I have written. In case if I write hi Apex, good morning, right? As soon as I click on save, it is going to refresh automatically. I'm not doing anything here. So which is happening. Okay. Right now you see Apex pages has the header and sidebar. In case if you wanted to take out this sidebar, so in the Apex page is a tag. Inside that we have a different attributes. So these are the attributes. These are the attributes. But in case if you do not want the sidebar, then make it sidebar equal to true. What will happen? Sidebar equal to true means it will show. Sidebar equal to false. Control save. Let's see this. Is gone. Now I wanted to remove the header as well. Now if I wanted to remove the header, we have an attribute which is called as a header, show header, false. Let's save this. So what will happen? It will automatically refresh and it will take off the header and sidebar. It will show the Apex page. Now, in case if you do not want to do it here, we can also do programming at the same page. We will see that tomorrow. We already crossed the 8. Any questions before I log off?
Yeah, just one last question.
Yeah.
So we have those Apex tags, right? So is it similar to a HTML tag, like where you give all the body inside will render? So okay, can I write any such HTML code or React code inside, which would reflect in that page?
Yes, you can put a breakpoint here. Let's add a breakpoint. Let's see the output.
Cool. So it's in the similar lines of HTML.
Similar line. That's what I have explained. This is a similar lines of HTML. Paragraph, break, bold, anything. We can use the HTML tags also. I can make it as a good morning bold. We have to write this inside the open and close. Now let me see the output. It's a bold. So styling also we can apply HTML styling, everything. So basically it's related to HTML. We can use the HTML, but only difference with the Visualforce pages. Visualforce page tags starts with the apex colon page, or any tag which starts with the apex colon. Like if you see anywhere in the entire program which says that apex colon means that is the Visualforce tags. Wherever you see P or without apex colon, if you see any tags, that means those are HTML tags.
Hello.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello, Swapna.
Yeah, Lakshmi.
I just had a question. You said there are 3 frameworks, that is Visualforce, Lightning Aura, and LWC, right?
Yes.
Which one is mostly currently using right now? And what is the major difference between these 3?
Okay. As per the market.
Yeah, as per the market right now.
Okay, as per the market, people are speaking LWC.
Okay.
This is as per the market. I'm not telling my own opinion. It's as per the market. Whatever the people outside they are speaking is LWC. But there are few projects. I cannot guarantee that. There are few projects which are running since long, like Caterpillar. Okay, some vehicles, which is a heavy vehicles, which they are going to handle. There are few projects where they need a Visualforce framework.
Okay.
Okay. So we should be learning the Visualforce as well as the Lightning as well as the LWC3 of them. Because based on the project, whatever the need of the requirement, based on that, we have to go with the development. If the need is, the client is expected that they want only the Visualforce because they are going to use the classic. But there are few projects, not more or lot of projects, only few projects which are running since long. They are not yet migrated to the Lightning Aura or LWC. Very minimum, but there are few, definitely.
Okay.
And in entire project, maybe they have used the Lightning and LWC, but there are some scenarios, rare scenarios, though they have implemented with the Lightning LWC, but there is a business requirement. They wanted to use a form within their site. That means we get ads in the Facebook, we get ads in whenever we open the Instagram or whatever thing. When we click on that, it will redirect it to their page, like a Skoda page, Yamaha page. So as soon as we go there on the page, they will be having some form to fill. So that form is a Visualforce page form. So there are a lot of different scenarios will be there. Okay, I'm not saying none of them are not using the Visualforce page. I cannot say that. There are few requirements which require a Visualforce. So I'm going to cover only that part. I'm not going to dig into the Visualforce lot. Whatever is needed as per the current market, only those things I'm going to cover in the Visualforce framework. Lightning Aura, if Visualforce is like a 5% of company are there, then Lightning Aura is maybe I can say 30 or 35% companies are using the Lightning Aura framework. Many of them are using that Lightning Aura. LWC, whatever the new projects that are coming up, there is no scratch on the project. They are going to start implementing from the base. So those projects they are planning to go with the LWC.
Okay.
And it's also depending on the developer skills. If there is a project that requires the LWC, but the developer skills are only have the Aura, not LWC, then they will try to convince the client saying that we will implement in the Lightning Aura, not with the LWC. So it's all depending on team skills. What are the skills that are there within the team? So based on that, decision is going to be taken by the business and they're going to convince the client.
Okay. And what is the major difference between these three?
Visualforce framework is basically we have a Salesforce two different, classic and lightning.
Yeah.
So classic is in case if you wanted to implement any form in the classic, you go with the Visualforce framework.
Okay.
That is the basic funda.
Okay.
But in
Okay.
lightning, if you wanted to go with any framework, basic funda is using the Lightning Aura or LWC.
Okay.
Because Lightning Aura LWC cannot fit into the classic because classic does not support the JavaScript.
Okay. Sure. Sure. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Hello, madam.
Yeah.
Madam, as you mentioned that if you develop any applications, either in Java, .NET, or it may be Salesforce, Salesforce providing features like at the beginning of the class, you mentioned why you have to learn Salesforce. Already ASP.NET, Java technologies are there in market, right? So here you divided development into three pieces, as you mentioned, UI development and logic development. And when we are following the MVC pattern, model means, as I said, that actual business logic, what we are writing there. But in Java, you are using collections. Same concept, it will be in here also, no? Salesforce development also, we are using collections, right? For my question is, for UI development, we are using like a similar kind of HTML tags in here also, it will support. So in Java technology, there is a concept called JSP, Java Server Pages, where in JSP tag in between, we can add the Java code. So whether that kind of facility is there here in the development?
Yes.
While developing UI, can you add the actual business logic in that page?
Business logic you cannot. So that's what I'm saying. Business logic you cannot.
Not business
There is a
logic,
difference
somewhat
in the
code,
logic.
Apex.
There is a difference in the logic, client side logic, server side logic. Okay. So the logic which can be handled within the page that could be done. So you cannot calculate by taking the Salesforce field A, B value 10 plus 15. You cannot calculate that logic in the UI. What are the basic things are there?
Validation part?
Like validation.
No, like
if you have not
JavaScript type
entered the
like
value, if you have not entered the value on the form, then you wanted to show the validation message, you can show that validation message. So that could be possible. There are few things which can we do it. So regarding the model view controller, is everybody understood the model view controller? Yes or no?
yes, ma'am. So
Okay, so in model, what are the things it's in the model?
Model, logic, Queueable, right?
Logic.
Yes.
What all will be there? Logic and development, which is the Apex classes. And
Yes. Apex class, triggers, everything.
what else will be there? Yeah, whoever is spoke right now, how do you pronounce your name? Basan Gowda?
Basan Gowda.
Basan Gowda. Yeah, what will be
Yes,
there in the model? What all will be
In
there?
model business logic Apex classes as you mentioned, and apart from that, DB connection will be there, database connection to
Database connection.
interact our UI application with the DB.
Mhm.
DB connection. Right.
And S object. And what will be there in the view?
Page,
Page user interface.
Page user
Visual
interfaces. And that's all. So components in Lightning Aura, we say components. What will be there in the controller? What will be there in the controller? What will be there in the controller?
Connection between the model and the view.
Connection between the model and view. Yes. So what will be there in the controller? How do you connect it?
Business logic.
How do we connect it? So controllers is basically we connect it using the standard controller. Standard and custom. Standard is nothing but connecting the object, we use the standard controller. Custom controller is basically connecting the Apex classes. Basically connecting the Apex classes, we use the custom controller. So this is the entire structure. So model will have the logic. In order to connect this page to the logic, I need either standard controller or custom controller. Then using this, I can connect this to. Standard controller is nothing but directly taking the account object. There is no logic, there is no business logic is required. Just I wanted to take the account record and display the account record in the page. Where is a custom is, I wanted to take a field value and manipulate that field value and display that output into the Visualforce page. In that case, we use the custom. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we'll stop recording.